Hello. Let's get ready. How are we doing? Little intro there. Been getting into trance recently. I used to like trance music when I was younger, and for some reason I've started revisiting it, and I love it. Yeah, proper good in the gym, good for driving in your car at night. Trance music, it's the future. Anyway, I hope you're all doing all right. Proper buzzing to give you this training today. Really excited. This for me is one of my favourite aspects of this course, this managing change course. So I'm really looking forward to delivering some top quality content, stuff that you can use straight away. And I'm even going to include what I consider to be a superpower in this course today. And it's about adaptability. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's get going. I'll introduce you to some of the topics we're going to be discussing today, and we'll get into it. So you've got the PDFs. Looking at the second module, increasing adaptability to change. So let's just share my screen for you. I don't know if it's taking long or is it just me. There we go. So adaptability, when we talk about the adaptability of change, Charles Darwin used to refer to the survival of the fittest as a way of introducing the theory of evolution to us. I've heard it referred to over the years in various books is the survival of the fittest, and this is a good segue into this module today, is when he talks about survival of the fittest, it's the fittest as in to fit in. So adaptability, the survival of the species will come down to how well you can fit in to different scenarios, adapt. And again, the quote by Tony Robbins that I used in the last training was, the quality of your life is in direct proportion to the amount of uncertainty you can handle on a daily basis. When we talk about uncertainty, what do we mean? We mean change. We mean stress. All these things. So where are we? Where are you? Managing change. Increasing your adaptability to change. We're going to do a little exercise shortly that is going to introduce you, or maybe open your eyes a little bit more to the amount of change you can actually handle and how you approach handling change. Going back to what we discussed in the first session, awareness is key. Anytime you learn more about yourself, knowledge is a powerful thing. Knowing how you react in certain situations, knowing how you react to change, knowing how you react when you're tired, knowing yourself, nocere ipsum in Latin, know thyself. It's a powerful thing. So the aims of today's session, to be able to change behavior when required. At the end of this session, we're going to look at a way of changing your behavior and changing your perception when required. That's superpower number 2. I think we had a superpower number 1 in the last session. This is superpower number 2, game changer. We'll also look at being able to act after a conscious decision rather than habit. So understanding that a change is happening and making a conscious decision to change that behavior and not fall back into previous habits. There's a saying, I'm going to butcher it now, but it's in times of stress, we do not rise to the level of our attributes. We fall to the level of our training. We do not rise to the level of our aspirations. We fall to the level of our training. So what that means is you might have aspirations, you might have goals, but when times are hard and in the thick of it, we always revert back to type. We always revert back to type. And it's the level of your training. So we're going to try and change that decision-making process and get out of our habits. And then we're going to try and encourage you to make a plan again, a skill set, to make a plan to deal and try new things. And I'm going to be here all the way because I understand I've been through this process myself. And I'm going to keep you accountable to make sure you're doing it. So handout 1. So handout 1, we're going to be looking at where we are and where we stand. Again, this is all about understanding yourself a bit better. So if you can understand yourself better, you can do more. You can do more things about it. So you're going to ask yourself these questions. Which of the following questions are true? Some of you may already know this about yourselves. Some of you, it may be the first time you've ever asked yourself these kind of questions. Again, it's powerful. So which of these questions below are true or false? I stick to things I know best. I'm going to work through it myself, but I've done a lot of work over the last few years about increasing my growth mindset and improving myself as a person to be able to deal with change better and actually step out of my comfort zone a little bit more. So a lot of these ones I've had to work on. They were false probably. Sorry, they were true, but now they're going to be false because I have gone through this process. So I get what you're going through now. These are tough questions to ask yourself. So I stick to things I know best. That's a false for me. What colour should we have here now today? Let's have a red pen. Let's have a red pen. So I stick to things I know best. False. I dislike trying new things. I love trying new things. I love being a white belt at things. I love having a white belt mentality. There's always something to learn. I don't see any reason to make changes. There's always changes to be made. Again, see what I mean? Me filling this in now, I understand the power of being adaptable to change and trying new things. I'm set in my ways. If people don't like it, it's too bad. So this is where you're adopting a fixed mindset. You're not willing to change. There's nothing I really need to change. So going back to the original module, understanding what signs and signals there are that make you make a change, that are signaling for you. The universe is conspiring and signaling for you that maybe you need to make a change here. I don't need to develop or try new things. I don't change much. So how many of those are true and how many of those are false? If you've got more true answers than false answers, then all that means, listen, don't beat yourself up. I understand, I get it. This might be the first time that you're asking yourself these questions. But celebrate the win. You've stood out your comfort zone and you've enrolled onto this course. You've paid for this course. You've put skin in the game, like we said last time. So I get it. And the whole idea behind this course is that it's practical and you are going to be able to deal with change if you complete the units and the modules on this course. So don't get frustrated with the fact that it's just a challenge, and challenges are there to be overcome. Yeah. So if you've put a lot of true answers, then it's just, you know what you need to work on now. There's no ambiguity. Is that even a real word? There's no ambiguousness. We'll go with that. Then you know what you need to do. Again, it comes back to being flexible, the ability to fit in, the ability to fit yourself into any environment. Exercise 2. More awareness. And I want you to write down your current habits, things that you're in your routine, behaviors that maybe you need to work on and that you understand you want to make a change, behaviors that really aren't working out for you and you want to be able to change them. So we've got some examples here: that too much TV, you're always quiet in a group, you criticize others, never organize anything, you wait for others to make first contact, to text you first before you reply. So spend some time just filling in some examples. So I used to definitely be guilty of never asking questions. I'd sit at the back of the class. I'd hide myself away. I was shy. I was lacking in confidence. And I'd never ask questions. Probably one for the fear of being ridiculed, looking stupid maybe. And the fear of highlighting myself. And also the fear of getting things wrong. Generally, whenever we put barriers up and we're scared to do something, it's generally because we're scared of being ridiculed. We're scared of failure. Powerful motivators. We'll look more at that when we do the leverage module. So I was previously guilty of maybe being on my phone too much. My screen time. I'm slowly becoming aware of ways that I can reduce that screen time, but it's still a lot, because a lot of the things that we do involve our phone. Like I'm constantly doing like me emails and promoting my business on my mobile, but that just increases my screen time. So I'm trying to calm myself by thinking it's all right. That's what I'm doing. I'm being constructive on it, but I'm on my phone. That's the deal breaker. Too much phone time. Another thing I could put on here, my wife will agree. She'll tell you that, don't get me wrong, I'm kind, I'm considerate. I'll always lend an ear. I'll listen to people with problems. I'll be supportive. But I'm reluctant to engage in conversations. I'm not very good at dealing with small talk. So I won't strike up. I'll say hello, I'll be polite, but I won't really engage in a conversation unless someone starts talking to me first. Did you get what I mean by that? So my wife would say I'm antisocial, but I'm not. I'm just not into small talk. So there are a few of my current behaviors. So never asking questions, I used to be like that. I can remember when I was in school, never asking questions, or earlier on in my career in the police, I wouldn't question things. Definitely too much phone time, and I don't really engage in small talk. So think of ways that you carry out current habits. What do you do? And then, again, this is about incremental changes to the way we adapt and the way we can approach handling change. We'll look at a bit more of a severe exercise next. But all I want to do next is, using the same examples, a more flexible approach. So flip the script. Yeah? Flip it on its head. So instead of too much TV, what's the example? Go for a walk. If you're always quiet in a group, make 2 comments. I think this is referring to a Facebook group. So if you're on a Facebook group and you never engage, maybe post 2 comments. If you criticize others, praise someone each day. Never be organized. Plan the day ahead. Start journaling in the morning. So how can I flip so never asking questions? I'm going to try and be more flexible with that and commit to asking 1 question every time I'm in a seminar or a webinar. One question per webinar. Too much phone. So a flexible option may be, I'm going to turn my phone off at tea time. I'm going to turn my phone off at 5:30 every night. Do you know what's even more powerful? Looking at who this will benefit the most. But just think of it as yourself. Think about who else will benefit from this. So I know for definite my wife will benefit from me turning my phone off. That's even more of again, when we get to this leverage module, we're going to be discussing all this. But that's a powerful motivator, not just thinking of yourself, but who else it'll benefit. You might have kids who unbelievably would it benefit them more than yourself if you turn your phone off at 5:30. Imagine how much more time and how much more present you're actually there with your kids, with your wife, with your family. Small talk. Ooh. Now, this is my barrier. I've got to be more flexible to try and approach that subject, but I don't know if I value it enough. But for the sake of being adaptable to change, small talk. So I'm going to commit to, next time I'm not walking the dog, I'm going to commit to maybe talking to one person and just asking them how the day is going before they ask me. So I'm going to engage in small talk with one person. So there we go. That's about flipping it and making it a little bit more flexible, a little bit more achievable, rather than introducing brand new behaviors, which, funnily enough, that's what we're going to next. Does this all make sense? Type in the comment section what your biggest takeaway from that exercise was. Did you learn something about yourself that you didn't already know? Write down your biggest takeaway. So now we're stepping up things a gear or 2. We're actually going to write down, maybe going off those previous habits, we're going to put down new things that we wanted to try. Anytime you can write down what's in your head, with no internal filing system, no filters. Just get it all down on paper and look at it and see it there on a page. There's some neurochemical reaction, connection, whatever the term may be, synapses in the brain with the hand, that when you physically write down something, there's a process that goes on there that either makes it more real, makes it more accountable. I definitely feel, so I'll give you an example. When I know I'm a kinesthetic and visual learner. So even from the age of my early 20s, handling weapons in the police, doing karate when I was younger, learning through being practical and visual. So now as a jiu-jitsu instructor, I know if I see a technique, I need to carry it out. I need to practice it and get that kinesthetic appreciation by being there and touching and feeling how my body moves in that position. But what's interesting is when I've learned a new technique, the process of writing that technique down and the steps needed to carry out that technique correctly helps me learn it more, helps it cement more in my brain so I can visualize it better, and then I can carry the technique out. Does that make sense? There's some weird thing that happens when you write stuff down. So we're going to put new things, new examples, new things to try to step out of this comfort zone. And don't worry, we're not looking for perfection. Again, we're looking for progress. We talked about implementing new habits. The way to implement new habits is by repetition. Repetition is the mother of all skills. But understand, practice does not make perfect. Practice makes permanent. Whatever you practice, whatever you habitually do, will become permanent. It will become permanent. So if you can practice stepping out your comfort zone, trying a new thing, it will become permanent and your mindset will change. And whenever big things do happen, you will almost have become inoculated to the process of change. And with these structures and these strategies that we're putting in place, you'll handle it like a duck takes to water off a duck's back. So list new things to try. So read a different paper, watch a different TV program, sit in a different place. This is a really good one, sitting in a different place. Some of you may or may have not heard of a book called Who Moved My Cheese? And I saw an example of this in my previous role as an MOD police officer. We used to have, each person had their own seat in various parts of the room and all that. And if someone new came down and they sat in someone else's chair, that's it. They were blacklisted. They were put into, they had the card marked. They were like, oh, that's someone else. That's such a body's chair there. And the person whose chair it stressed them out all day. They couldn't handle it. Now that's such a small example, but that's how fixed people become in their routines and their habits. They have a chair, and if someone else sits in that chair or it gets moved, then it crushes the whole world. I definitely recommend Who Moved My Cheese. I'll put it in the comment section because I can't remember the author off the top of my head, but I'll put it in the comment section. Really powerful book. And you can spot it when you go about your daily life, when you've got these new skills and you're more aware of what's going on in the change cycle. You can see people and how stressed out and anxious they get about these little changes. And Who Moved My Cheese? It's an excellent little cue as well, because I say it to myself, if some change happens and I'm I'm stressing out a little bit because I can't handle it. I have a little automatic cue, who moved my cheese, and I understand, yes, now I need to get the processes in place now. I need to handle this better. Yeah. So, new things to try. I do this slightly different, so I'm going to show you the way I do it. So what we're looking at here in this example is new things to try. So for example, sit in a different chair, go into different supermarkets, have a go at something that's out your comfort zone, go jet skiing, go wakeboarding, go and play football, go and play pool, go and play snooker, listen to some rap music if you're not into rap, all sorts of different examples. Read fiction if you always read non-fiction, read a different genre, walk a different direction. If you always walk in the same place, do the reverse of it. Check out some new environments. There's loads of examples, loads. You need to be creative. This is for you to be creative and think about new and exciting ways that you can step out your comfort zone. And make yourself accountable. When are you going to do this? So write a day of the week or put the date when you're going to achieve or when you're going to try this new activity. Now I do it a kind of similar, a slightly different way. And I look at a pyramid. Split up into sections. And the pyramid goes up in level of difficulty. That says difficulty, by the way. So the bottom layer of the pyramid are your easy, low-hanging fruit. So I'm going to read a different genre. That's quite easy. Do you know what I mean? I can do that. But again, it's all relative. What is easy for me might be really difficult for yourself. So don't beat yourself up. Don't get frustrated. Comparison is the thief of joy. The more we compare ourselves to other people, we take a lot of delight and satisfaction and joy out of our lives. You see it on Facebook all the time. Constantly people comparing their lives to each other. And obviously Facebook isn't an accurate portrayal of what someone's life is like. But it's negative information. So stop the comparisons. Don't compare yourself to other people. You've only got one life and it's your life. Stop comparing yourself to other people. So I'm going to read a different genre. Next, I am going to try skipping as a warm-up before going in the gym. I can't skip, so it's something new to try, something out of my routine. And then this is something I dealt with probably about 6 months ago. I was really conscious about going on camera. Again, for the fear of failure or fear of ridicule. So you could put, I'm going to film myself and put it out on YouTube. I'm just going to upload it and put it out there and see what the reactions come back. But I'm not going to be scared with the fear of failure or being ridiculed. I'm just going to deal with whatever comes and accept it. So now the pyramid starts to come to a peak now because the actual changing behaviors is getting harder, maybe more uncomfortable. So film YouTube, the video. Next, getting harder and harder. Yeah, so now I'm going to do maybe public speaking. So I've done the YouTube video, I'm online. So now I'm going to actually speak in public. So now we get more and more out of your comfort zone, dealing with change, trying a different behavior. Public speaking. And you get the idea. We're going higher and higher up the pyramid. Yeah. So maybe that public speaking, when I was referring to the goals in the last section was actually running a class, running my first jiu-jitsu class. Yeah. And then we get higher and higher up the peak. So the last one is the change that we want to make. So you can see how we're inoculating ourselves to the process of change through each of these steps. You don't have to do it this way. You can do it the way it's set out in the module, that you put new things to try and when you're going to do it. I just like the idea that you can increase the intensity of the activities that you carry out. So the more and more stepping out of your comfort zone. There's actually a way Jeff Thompson called the fear pyramid. For those of you who aren't aware who Jeff Thompson is, Google, used to be a bouncer in Coventry, and now he's quite a spiritual guru, for the want of a better word. And one of his early models was the fear pyramid, and it went all the way from dealing with spiders to actually dealing with conflict. And as a result, the peak of his pyramid was working the doors as a bouncer. There's no other way of, I can't think of a better way to get over the fear of dealing with conflict than being a doorman. So anyway, so there you have it. That's how we start to incrementally deal with trying new things and stepping out of our comfort zone to deal with change a little bit better. So now the next section of this module is a way, when we referred to what the actual outcomes were going to be from this session. It was to change behavior when required. And I'm going to give you give you a kind of a mindset shift training now to understand how we can change our behavior in an instant. Yeah. So let me try and explain this and we'll bring it back round. So when we're in life, an event will happen. So this could be the event of change that is the one thing you need to change during this training course as a result of this training course. So you deal with change. So an event happens. Yeah, events happen all the time in life. When an event happens, going back to the previous model of how we process information and how we become a fixed mindset in module 1, and how after a certain age, we make events fit our model of the world. Our model of the world is based on our perception. And our perception is made up of all the influences and all the information that we've taken on board and consumed through our life. That's how we make our perception. That's whether we decide something's good or bad. Yeah, remember, good or bad. Nothing is ever good or bad, but thinking makes it so, yeah? So we get a perception of an event. Then we make a decision. And then after the decision, we take action. So this is generally how we make and perceive information and how we make decisions in our life. So an event happens. We have a perception of that event, good or bad, based on all the previous information that we've consumed throughout our life and influences. We make a decision on that perception. So the decision is, this is really bad. This is really bad. This situation that I find myself in at the moment, it's really bad. So we take action, and we'll take action on the previous steps before. Does that make sense? So how we perceive the event will depend on It will depend on our frame of mind at the time of the event. So our perception of the event will depend on our frame of mind at the time of the event. When we say frame of mind, we can also mean our state of mind. Yeah, it's another way of saying it. So our state of mind at the time of an event happening is going to affect our perception, which ultimately will affect our decision, which ultimately will affect the way we act. So you could argue that this, our state, is how we change our behavior in an instant. This is the next superpower. Once you get your head around this, it's as easy as changing your state. It's as easy as changing your frame of mind, changing your state of mind in an instant. That will make you make better decisions, more informed decisions, make decisions that are less emotional. If you get a handle on your state, you're lining everything up to win. Yeah. So I know what you're asking, and it's a logical question to ask. How do we change our state? So let me get a bit fancy here with this. Let me get a bit fancy. Right. So our state is based on three things. So our state is made up of three things. Number one, your physiology. I'm not going to attempt to spell physiology, but you know what I mean. So physiology, yeah, it's affected by the language that we use. And it's also affected by our focus. So physiology, language, focus. What do you think we mean by physiology? What do you think we mean by physiology? So how do we change our state in terms of physiology? Any takers? So we can change our physiology by posture, sitting up straight, shoulders back. Already, I feel more assertive, I feel more ready to go rather than slouched over. Yeah, slouched over, shoulders are rounded, back's arched. Even my voice, even your vocal cords, it affects your vocal cords and everything's a little bit like in, not projected. So posture, aligned spine, shoulders back, chin up. Yeah, chest out. Posture. What else are we talking about? Your breath. We're inherently bad at breathing, believe it or not. And we're predominantly mouth breathers, which is the worst kind of breathing. So the worst kind of breathing, I'm not going to spend too long on breath because we could do another hour in itself just on the art and topic of breathing. But if you just be aware of your breath, how do you breathe? Do you breathe high into the chest and into the throat and into the lungs? Do you breathe through your mouth? Or do you breathe through your nose? Breathing through the nose is the more optimal way of breathing. Breathing into the belly, breathing using the diaphragm. So what they call 360 breathing. So instead of just breathing into your belly, breathing into your back and into your ribs. So your whole body around the circumference of your diaphragm expands with an inhalation of breath. Loads of interesting books on breath. Specifically, if you want to check out James Nestor, his book called Breath is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. He's been on a few podcasts promoting it, but the book is amazing. I didn't realize how much our breath, and you take it for granted, but how much our breath is a factor in a lot of our health, mental health, physical health, our immune system, everything. So check that out. But breath, so we can change our physiology by our breath. And we can change our physiology by movement. Just by clapping your hands, movement 10 times changes your state immediately. Jumping in a cold shower, jumping on a trampoline, all these things can help you change your state in the physiology. So let's look at language. How could language change your state? I'm going to use an example, again, why it's quite current, using the COVID epidemic. It could also be utilized for sports, changing jobs. However, the language that I've heard some people use, that when looking at COVID, people look at what they can't do. Yeah? What they can't do whilst they're in this lockdown. So what is your language? Is your language negative? Let's flip it again, flip the language. So instead of looking at what you can't do, look at what you can do. Yeah. Other people see things as problems. They're not problems, they're just challenges to be overcome. See things as opportunities, not things that it's being taken away from you. So instead of having what do they call it, a scarcity mindset, have more of an abundance mindset. So flipping things on its head. Again, the language that we use, there is no good or bad, but thinking makes it so. It's massive. I know I keep repeating it, but repetition is the mother of all skills. So the more and more it's ingrained into our mindset, into our psyche, it's made permanent. So what challenges, not problems, challenges. The language that we use, we often delete, distort, and generalize information to fit our model of the world. So, as to use an example, we make conversations up in our head, don't we? So you might have maybe had a little bit of an incident at work or in your personal life, and during the day, you've created a whole conversation in your head. And you've distorted that conversation because it's not actually happened. Maybe that's not exactly what the person said. You're making that conversation fit your model of the world. You're adding data, you're deleting things, you're distorting, you may be generalizing, using the language. You're not dealing in fact because it's your model of the world, your model of reality, your perception of reality. I know we're getting deep here, and I know this might be a hard thing to get your head around, but what's the training? Again, these trainings are here now for your lifetime. You might not always have access to the instructors and the tutors, but refer to these trainings again and go down the rabbit hole, delve deeper into the James Nestor book, the science of storytelling, all these things. Do your own research. So that's the language. We delete, we distort, and we generalize. Focus. Our state changes when we focus on a goal or focus on something from our happy list that we're hopefully we're introducing that into our daily habits. So change your focus, change your intention. What can you focus on? Focus on your planner. Look at your planner, get back on track. Focus on the video of my dog running around Formby Beach. Break that cycle. Break that cycle. Focus on something positive or something that's in your happy list, or focus on your planner, what your goals are for that day. Change your focus. So we're looking at your list. We're looking at your planner. Also, change what information you consume. How much information do you consume on a daily basis? Change your focus. If you feel yourself in a negative state of mind or frame of mind when you're on Facebook, it's no wonder when you're on social media. Change the focus, put the phone down, pick up the guitar, put the phone down, pick up a book, do a meditation. Change your focus. What information are you consuming? So to summarize, an event happens. Our state of mind at the time of the event will affect how we perceive that information. Then we'll make a decision on our perception and we'll take action. Our perception of an event depends on our frame of mind or state. And our state can be changed by 3 ways: using our physiology, changing our language, and changing our focus. The physiology is broken down into changing your posture, changing how you breathe, different breath modalities, different ways of breathing. For example, box breathing, a basic technique to bring down and lower stress levels and cortisol levels, is breathing in for 4 seconds into the nose, breathing into the belly, holding that breath for 4 seconds, breathing out for 4 seconds through the nose, and then on the end of the exhale, holding it for 4 seconds, and then breathing in for 4 seconds and repeating the cycle. Simple technique to lower anxiety and lower stress. Movement, move around, cold shower, 10 star jumps, 10 press ups, clap your hands, all sorts of different things. Our language, delete, distort, generalize. Not what you can't do, what can you do? Don't deal in problems, deal in challenges. What opportunities are there? Ask yourself better questions. Who else is it going to benefit? And you focus. Look at your happy list. Look at your planner. Look at what information you're taking on board. Look at what information you're consuming. That's how you change your state. And a combination of all 3 is a powerful thing. This is going to allow you to change your behavior in an instant. And in my opinion, this is, if you want to take one thing away from this training course and all these modules dealing with change, like I said, they're either skill set issues or the mindset issues. This is a superpower for changing your mindset. Understanding this model is going to help you massively create every change and handle every change that you want to implement in your life. So I hope that all makes sense. Again, you revisit this video. I hope it makes sense. Let me know your biggest takeaway from this. What are your obstacles? What are you struggling with? We'll help you. Write down what behavior you're going to change this week. Write down in the comment section what behavior, what habit you're going to be more flexible on this week. I'm going to keep you accountable. I'm going to call you out. Write down in the comment section what you're going to change this week. Remember, carry on filling in your morning focus, how you feel physically, how you feel emotionally, rate them 1 to 10. What can you do to improve those scores? Remember, it's not a spectator sport. Participation. We'll see you on module 3. Have a good one.